Hello Internet, welcome. Today we're going to talk about dependency injection. Dependency injection is quite a useful way of thinking about how to handle dependencies between functions in your code. And you could do with or without it, it's a matter of taste. And I wanted to show you what are the cool use cases of it, in my opinion. So here I've got a FastAPI server, which has two routes. First of them, we'll just look at the root route for a minute, and then we'll go over for the more advanced example, and then maybe we'll develop our own small dependency injection package. We'll see. So as you can see, here we have a request ID, and we'd like to somehow generate like a random one for each request that comes to the server. So we can declare our own dependencies here with FastAPI's magical depends keyword, depends class, and this function magically gets called whenever we send a request to the root of our router, and we get a brand new UUID every time. We can show that right here. If we send a request, we just get every time a new UUID alongside our message. And that's quite nice because we didn't have to actually write our own middleware. We just said we depend on a function pointer, which is in that case the UUID4 function that comes directly from the standard library. This is quite nice. And we can actually have nested dependencies, which are even more useful. Let's say we have our database and we'd like to somehow fetch data from the database. Maybe it could be modeling some of our users, or maybe we'd like to fetch some metadata in order to fulfill our request. So we could actually have our database connection as a dependency to our route. And that database connection actually depends on our configuration, which right now only supports SQLite, but we could imagine that we can add something like supporting a PostgreSQL database when you're running not locally. And this is modeled the same way. You can just add your depends function here, and this would work. Actually, we could say this should be annotated in that way. And this is like the proper way of saying that this is a dictionary from string to string, and our like metadata means it is generated from this dependency. Now, when we run our curl against the nested route, we get our UUID from the for, and we also get something from the database, which is in this case just a select one statement, just to show that we do have some kind of connectivity to our actual connect. We do have an actual connection here. This, by the way, could have been like some kind of generic DB API connection. This is a class that does not exist, but I wanted to just clarify this could have been like any kind of SQL connection. So there we have it. This is why we'd like to have dependency injection, because it makes the modeling of our dependencies quite clean and nice. And this is also, of course, reusable. We can just define a type alias and say we'd like to have a database connection, which is in itself a type alias, and it is an annotated dependency, and we just need to push our dependencies above that type alias. Now we can just depend on the DB, and we'll have our DB, which is quite nice. By the way, this is like the server is running here with just a hot reload in the background. This is why we can just curl away and things get updated in real time. So this is part one. This is why dependency injection cool, and maybe you'll join me for part two, where we'll actually build our own small dependency injection library. Hope you enjoyed it.